Hi testing folks, welcome to ConformIQ.
ConformIQ has come up with its new version release, Creator 4.6.4.
In this version release, you can find the new and improved AI-powered features that help in enhancing the user experience as well as provide better software quality. So let us see the new enhancements that are provided in this new version. So the major enhancements include the enhancements within the business requirement. So within the business requirement modeling, you can see our new UI now called as inline data table, with which you can add new or edit the existing inline data against the selected businesses. Now, this inline data has been handled on the import side as well through the Gherkin BDD importer, as well as you can also see the same being exported as is with all of Gherkin VRMs. Coming to the other major enhancement within the business requirement modeling is the introduction of two new keywords, the and given or when, and the other one is and then. These two new keywords provide contribution similar to the Gherkin and, but you can find this can be used for both user action as well as verification action. That is, you can find the and given or when and the and then both keywords functioning the same as a continuation of the input actions and the output actions respectively, which can simplify the user modeling process within the creator. Coming back to the other major enhancement is within the Gherkin importer. Now this Gherkin importer, apart from handling the inline data table, and AI-powered automated intelligence has been provided such that now the models are more enhanced to preserve the input picture file such that the data combinations are preserved as is, which you can find in the input source file without any mismatch across the scenarios, and you can publish them in the output, which you can verify by using the updated Gherkin BLM script. The other important aspect which you can find within the Gherkin importer is that the AI-powered importer has been further enhanced to optimize the model flow as well. So initially, the preference is given to preserve the data combinations, and also the intelligence makes sure that the entire model has been optimized. Now, coming to the other enhancements which are made in this new version release is the new search functionality. So a brand new search functionality has been introduced now in each and every pop-up. Say for example, within the input constraints that you can find in the GUI model, the decision basis, the add action button. So such pop-ups which you can find where you can specify certain constraints within the model. So in each and every such pop-up, you can find a search bar has been introduced, such that the specification of those objects can be done in much more faster way with the new search functionality. Coming to the other enhancement, which is other test case step view. Now, in the creator, within the test review perspective, you can find the test case step view where a tabulation has been provided such that you can find the steps, the value, and context of every test cases. Now, within this tabulation, now the cells are in the default size. In case you want a better viewing experience, this enhancement has been provided now in this new version release, where you can go to the Windows preferences such that an option has been provided by enabling which you can enlarge the cell size and have the better viewing experience. This especially helps in better readability of the inline data defined within the business sections. Now, within this new version release, you can also find enhancements made across the requirement management as well. Now, the specification of the same requirement more than once in the model is allowed, but with a warning message, such that this follows the understanding that in case of the real-time projects, each requirement has been specified more than once in a particular node or in a particular flow or in a particular AD file, then such requirements can have more than one functionality. So these are the new enhancements which you can find in ConformIQ's new version release Creator 4.6.4. Let me demonstrate you all these enhancements on the Creator net. Now let me demonstrate you with the major updates made in the Gherkin importer as well as in the VRM module. So I have considered here a sample project called as Parabank demo, where I have imported a feature file out of which an array has been created here. So this is the feature file which has the scenario outline, features, examples, the inline data. So the first update which I am going to demonstrate is on the inline data. Now, as you saw in the feature file, we have considered here the inline data, right? So in the model now with the latest importer, which you can see has a part of Creator Photo 6.4 version, it has been handled. That is the model which gets created, you can see the inline data getting handled. Now, as you can see now, within the text, if the inline data contains, in the same way it has been represented here in the model as well. Now, in case if you want to modify this inline data table, you are given an UI button on this pop-up called as Add Inline Data Table. So this is another enhancement made in this version. Now, when you click on this UI button, you'll see a small window pop-up being open, which you can maximize or set as required, or resize as required. And as you can see now, the entire data table, what you saw in the business section editor, the same data has been displayed here. Now this data here, you can either modify or delete it. Say for example, if I want to modify this data as 457, once you modify this and click on OK here on this window, you'll get a confirmation message, and on clicking on OK, you see the data has been changed. So now when you click on OK and save this model, and when you try to export it, so even this inline data has been handled, the scripted output has been. So let me show you how the inline data is observed in the script as well. So for which I'm going for generating the test cases, and once the test cases have been generated, I'll consider here that the latest Gherkin Baram script file, and once you use it and export the test cases, you can find a test case folder being created. Once you open this parabank, the feature file being generated, you can see the inline data being handled as is without any changes. That is, whatever the updates are made within the model, in case if there are no updates, then you can see the inline data being handled as is what you find in the input source file. So these are the enhancements around the inline data table, where the data version can now handle the inline data which is being imported through a feature file. You can manually add an inline data through the use of the new UI button, as well as you can also export the inline data as is with the latest calculating where. The next enhancement you can find is the introduction of two new keywords, and given or when and then. It is the and functionality which is being now added for the user action as well as for the verification action. Now, when you click on any of the business activity node and then click on business actions, now you can see two new keywords, add and given or when action and add and then action. So the and given or when action, it serves the same purpose as when, but it has to be used along with the user action, that is the input actions, and then action is for the verification actions. So in case if there are more than one then action has to be used in the model flow, then you can make use of this and then for the continuity of the verification action flow modeling. Similarly, you can make use of the and given or when action for both the given action as well as for the when action, which both serves as an input action. So it acts as an the continuity for the input action modeling. So instead of and, now the creator is providing you much more easiest way to handle the use of and functionality within the creator for the user actions as well as for the verification actions. Now this functionality, when you're trying to use in the model, you get to see with these two new keywords, but in the export side with the Gherkin Bear and script output, you can see it has been considered back to the and. So let me show you that. Now here in this case, if I'm using and given a when action, and I try to use this action before the when action and try to provide some text, say, uh, and when I try to export this model now, you can see the and given the when action has been converted to just the and action. So the main idea of and is still maintained here in the output side. So let me quickly show you that. So once the test is have been generated now, and with the latest like in BNAB scripter, I consider exporting the test cases now. So once the export test cases are done, and once the export process is completed, we can see the feature file being updated here. So when you open this particular feature file, you can see the and sample testing the statement which has been mentioned with respect to the new keyword and given or when. After the when action, you can see it has been just considered as and. So this is how the and functionality remains as is within the Gherkin feature file. But in order to simplify the use of and functionality in the modeling for the user action as well as for the verification action, separate keywords have been implemented, providing the same functionality, which is the continuation of input action, that is for when or given, and for the output actions for the then statements. Now coming back to the other major enhancements that are made within the Gherkin importer is intelligence that can preserve the data combinations as is in the model as well as in the scripted output. For which I am coming back to the feature file which I considered as an input source to this uh, Gherkin importer. As you can see now within this feature file there are different combinations of data such as the username and password, the loan amount and account. Also you can see the same data which is the username and password are being merged with other combinations of data such as account and date, also with account and ID as well. But as you can see now, the same account parameter being used with different set of other combinations. So in this case, the date and the ID. In order to maintain this data combination with respect to the scenario outline within which it has been defined, the intelligence has been provided now in this latest creator release version 4.6.4, where when you use this core importer of BDD, you can see the data combinations being preserved as is, and when you try to export it, you can see there is no mismatch with respect to the data combinations. So let me demonstrate you this scenario. Now this is a model that has been created from that feature file. Now as you can see, the entire model consists of common flows as well as their different patches as well. But when you come to this particular, the branched down business activity nodes, you can see the same statement has been utilized in multiple branches. This is because in order to maintain the data combinations, because each of these statements contains the data parameters which encloses different set of combinations. So in order to preserve this combination, an intelligence has been provided. So when you try to export, you will get the right combination as you can find in the input source file. So here the feature file which has already been generated as a part of the script output. You can see the same data combinations with the loan amount and account, username and password with account and ID. Similarly, username and password with account and date. So and then username and password as is. So you can see the same data combinations has been preserved. Now coming back to the model, the next enhancement which is made is the intelligence has been provided such that not just the data combinations are meant as is, so in order to get proper output, but you can also see the entire model flow is getting optimized. So as you can see now, there are certain common statements and the branching is happening. And again, you can see the statements are getting merged because the common statement exists across the scenarios. And whenever the common statements exist, the creator has now the intelligence to provide it in an optimized flow that is within the common path. And again, when there is the variations within the statements, you can see the creator tries to model it in different patches. As you can see now, the line number 6, where you can see the user logged in successfully in the home page, is similar to the line number 25, where users logged in successfully in the home page. But here, you can see in both the scenarios, after this particular then statement, we have different set of statements. So here it is expected that the after the common path, the branching has to take place, and so the intelligence has been made in the creator now. So as you can see now within the creator, once you come to the particular the then action where it says that user has been logged in successfully, so you can see the merging is happening from two separate flows. But instead, immediately after this particular node, you can see addition has been provided, which tries to branch out the respective different set of statements. So this intelligence has been provided within the Gherkin importer such that the initial preference has been given in order to maintain the data combinations as is, so that in the output the user gets the right combinations of data without any mismatch, and upon which if there is the need of optimization, the intelligence is providing so that within the creator merging the optimized model flows. Now let me demonstrate you all with the other enhancements starting with the new search functionality, for which I have considered here an example project called as Agile Bank application, within which in the model folder you can see I have considered two ADs, one for the BRM model flow and other for the GUI model flow. Now within this both of this AD file, as you can see, we have different actions here for the GUI model flow as well as even for the BRM model flow. Now coming back to the GUI model flow, we have different actions such as the display screen action, the fill form action, the click button action. So also we have addition node. So now coming back onto the display screen action, within the properties, as you can see, we have here pin contents, which is currently in the default initialize. Now when you double click on it, you can see a pop-up popping up here. Now in this new version release Creator 4.6.4, you can see a search bar has been implemented here. So
here with which you can search the different contents being specified in this list. Not just on the display screen action, even on the fill form, when you click on it within the properties, you can see the input constraints. So currently, let me clear it, and when you double click on it, as you can see, a search bar is provided here as well. You can see a list of different input constraints that is possible for this particular field form. So within which, if you, in order to make your task easy, double click on this basis, you can see the list of different specifications that can be provided in this basis. So such as account type enumeration or even the boolean date or number. So or within the string you can see the different business parameters being defined or the data objects. So if any of the different specifications which you want to consider into the basis, and if you want this action need to happen as quick as possible, then you can make use of the search functionality. Now how the search function exactly works here. Now, as you type here the keyword which you want to search or the node name or even the basis, particularly which you want to specify in the decision node or even in the display screen or in any of the other input or parameter constraints, you just need to mention it. So in this case, for example, if I mention the login, as I type, you can see the search results getting updated and you can see the refined results in this pop-up. Now, as I type the login, you can see the final list has been prepared here, where you can find the login being considered within the string, within the variable comparison, and within the variable comparison, you can have like two different subsets here, one within the form, called as user info, and one within the parameter as well. So these are the different search results you can get, and as you can see now, considering the basis or the defining the basis within the decision node has been made faster with this search functionality. Now coming back onto the BRM model, so within the BRM model, you can see the decision node here. So if you want to update this decision node, you just need to mention it. For example, if I consider call as low, as you can see, the search results has been updated and you can quickly consider this particular search result into defining the basis for a decision node. Also, within the business activity now, when you try to add the requirement action, suppose, so let me add a requirement action here. When you double click on the requirement action, you can see the search bar coming up here as well. So in case if your project has a large set of requirements and you want to cater for a specific workflow or specific model flow, so in such a case, you can easily mention here with the help of search bar. Now this search functionality, it is not just available in this requirement action or in input constraints or parameter constraints, but you can also find them in the add action. So now let me cancel this pop-up and go back to the GUI model where you can see as you hover the mouse on any of the GUI node, you can see a button hovering on this, which is called as add action. Now, as you click on this add action button, you can see the list of different actions that you can add within this GUI node, such as the display screen action, the state variable action, the requirement action or user entry actions or narrative actions. So all these actions you can add here within this GUI node. Now, in case there are like different actions and the list is very huge and you want to minimize it or have the fastest search result, then you can make use of this search bar option where when you just type the keyword or the node name or the action name which you want to add within this GUI activity node, you can see the search results getting filtered out and you can have this action done very quickly. Now, this search bar, it encloses only the search results within the model folder. In case the model folder has more than one AD, and if those ADs has different GUI actions, such as within the display screen actions, if apart from this AD, if the other AD has different screen actions, then those screen actions can be visible within this list. So this was all about the new search functionality being implemented in this new version released Creator Photo 6. Now going to the other enhancements. So let me demonstrate you on the other enhancements, which is the requirement management. So as you can see now, in this project, I have considered a requirement, which is an ad hoc requirement called as sample request. And also I have considered certain Jira requirements. So as you can see in this requirements list, I have here two sets. One is for the Jira requirements and as well as a set of ad hoc requirements. Now, the enhancements made on this requirement management is such that you can use the same requirement and specify it in the same AD or within the same node. such that the creator issues a warning message to the user on the specification. It is because it lets the user know that if such an action has been carried out, it means that in a real-time projects for the same requirement, more than one functionality can exist. So now here in this case, now as you can see, I have here an ad hoc requirement. Now let me add the same ad hoc requirement in the same way, which is sample requirement 2. Now, as you can see now here, when the same requirement, which is the ad hoc requirement, say sample requirement 2, has been added again in a different activity node, but within the same activity diagram file, then in such a case, you can see the creator issuing a warning message within the section called as managed requirements, where you can see it says that multiple occurrences of requirement, which and specifies the name of the requirement, and it says that it has not been recommended because if any update is made, then it has to be made at multiple locations. Now, this enhancements on the requirement management is not just applicable to the GUI model flow, but also to the BRM model flow, for which I'm considering here a sample BRM AD file where I'll add the requirement actions. So let me add the requirement action by right clicking and selecting add requirement action. So within which, when you double click on the requirement, you can see a pop-up window showing a list of different requirements. So here in this case, the Jira requirement. So I'm selecting one of the requirement, and in this case, when I try to use it in some other node and try to use the same node, which is the login successful, and click on save, you can see the creator issuing a warning message for this. So within the problems view, you can see within the managed requirement section, the creator is stating that if such an action has been carried out, it means that in a real-time projects for the same requirement, more than one functionality can exist. So this was about the enhancements in requirement management. Now coming to the other enhancement which is made within this new version release Creator 4.6.4 is on the test case step view, for which we need to go to the confirming test review perspective. So here, when you click on any one of the test case which has been generated, so in this test case step view, you can see this tabulation form having the different steps being involved within this test case as well as the value and the context. Now, in case if there are any inline data which exists within this model flow and that is part of this test case, and it has been difficult to read with this view what you can currently observe now. So in order to change that view, what you need to do is that you need to go to the windows, you need to go for the preferences and select the confirming and then go for the UI, where you can see a new option has been provided which is called as enlarging the test case step view in this confirming test review perspective. So by default it will be unchecked. Once you check and click on apply, you will see a message from the system which is asking to restart the system. On clicking on this, you can see the system gets automatically restarted. So once the system gets restarted, you need to select the project. Upon selection of the project, the same project, you can see the test cases are visible now. And on clicking on the test cases, you can still see the same view. But as soon as you come across the particular flow where that particular flow having the inline data, so then you can see the view getting enlarged automatically. So in this case, when I click on the test case, which has the inline data, as you can see now, the add given when action has this inline data table. So as you can see now, upon selection of this particular flow, which holds this inline data information, the entire cell information gets enhanced. Now, in case if you come back to the initial test cases or any other test cases, you can see all the cells in the test case that view for that particular test case are being enlarged. And this feature, once you check it, this gets applicable to all the projects within that workspace. So in case if you have different set of projects within this workspace and you select any of the project and come to the test review perspective, provided the test cases are generated, then you can see on selecting any of the test case, the cells are getting enlarged the test case view. So this is the other enhancement which has been made and you can find in this new version release Creator Photo Resource. So these are the different enhancements which you can find within this new version release Creator 4.6.4 from the Gherkin importer with the new UI as well as the intelligence provided. Also with respect to the new keywords, the enhancements which you can observe is around the new search functionality, the requirement management, and the test case step. Thank you for watching.